The video you're about to watch is actually part of a bigger course which is called ClickUp Fundamentals Mastery, and if you want to get access, it's absolutely free. You can find the link in the description below. And by the way, if you need help with your ClickUp setup, you can also find the link to schedule a 30-minute discovery session in the comment section below this video. With that said, let's get to the class. All right, so now let's jump into understanding what ClickUp statuses are and how to use them inside ClickUp. I'm gonna share my screen over here and we're gonna dive straight into this. Now, as we're going through this, I just want you to keep in mind the waterfall analogy that I mentioned before, and I'm actually gonna explain this as we're setting things up. Now, what statuses are? In ClickUp, as we discussed, the building block of ClickUp is a ClickUp task, right? So you can see I have my admin task over here that represents the actual to-do item, which says check compliance. You can click on the task and open the task, and I'm actually going to show you a little bit about the task here as well. Basically, the title of the task here at the top, which tells you what you need to do. You have some of the basic parts of the task, which are the fields here at the top. We're gonna again cover some of the very basics, just not to overload you, but you can see over here you have the due dates, you have the priorities, the tags. Again, you can click around and just test it and see how that looks and works. You can also add the descriptions in the task. You can see the comment section at the right hand side. But for this video and for this class, we're gonna focus solely on statuses. Now, we mentioned that ClickUp tasks are like building blocks in our ClickUp setup, right? So essentially those can represent a to-do action for you, right? So for example, check compliance. We also reviewed when a ClickUp task can represent something else than a to-do. It can represent a job opening. It can represent a position we're hiring for example, customer success specialist. Again, that's a separate task. If you open it, you can see that the title of the task here at the top, and you can see different statuses. If you click on the statuses, you can see different statuses list over here. The question that we have at this point is, when ClickUp tasks represent different things in ClickUp, right? So again, some of them are just simple to do things. Some of them represent more complex things like job openings or applications. The statuses becomes a way for you to say what is the progress for this specific item, right? When it comes to admin tasks, that's pretty straightforward, right? Because like when you're completing something, there are only three main statuses that you want it to go through. You want it to go to do, in progress, complete. So it's just a way for you to report on the progress and tell people where you're at with this specific task. So if I were to complete the check compliance, I would say, all right, this goes into in progress. It went somewhere in here. As soon as the task is done, I would say, all right, I'm good to go. This task is complete. So this way I just completed a task. But what happens if you need to track a little bit more advanced statuses, right? So it's not just a simple to do in progress complete, but statuses can represent different parts or stages of the process that the specific item is going through. So if I go to my job openings and I open one of the statuses or one of the tasks here, you can see that the statuses here are quite different. They show you different stages of the process, which is draft, awaiting approval, ready to post. So again, we're basically at this point, we're saying one tasks can have one set of statuses, and other types of tasks can have a separate set of statuses. So how do we set this up? We're going back to our waterfall analogy. And this way, we're gonna start from the very bottom. We're gonna start from the list. You can set up statuses on either of these levels, right? You can set up it on the list level, on the folder level, or on the space level. We're gonna start with the list level first. The way you update statuses is you go to the list, you click on the three dots, and you go to the task statuses button over here. The window is gonna pop up, and the first thing that you will see here is actually what we've learned from the waterfall analogy, is that the statuses inside the list are inherited from space. Now, if you want that statuses to be different from the space level statuses, you can click on use custom statuses and you can update the statuses manually. You just basically need to type it in and you can just say new status, right? You're gonna add a color, which I usually like to do. You're gonna move things around, just say, in progress should come after a new status. I want to say this is gonna be my closed status, and I'm gonna say on apply changes. This way, what you're doing is you're changing the statuses at the bottom of the waterfall hierarchy, right? The changes that you're gonna apply are only applying to the list, this specific list, and all the tasks in that list, right? Where you're editing the statuses. It doesn't apply to folders, it doesn't apply to lists. So you're essentially doing this only on the list level. And again, I just showed you how to do it by going to the three dots, edit statuses. Another way to edit statuses, by the way, if you go, you can find this three dots almost anywhere. You can find it here, you can click on Edit Statuses, you can open the task, and if you click on changing the statuses, you can find 3 dots over here, click on Edit Statuses. This way, you can align the statuses with the process that you want to track or manage inside your ClickUp account. All right, we've done this on the list level. Let's go further and let's go update the statuses on the folder level. Over here, the same thing applies. So we're gonna go to the folder level, hiring and onboarding, click our 3 dots next to the folder. Now remember the waterfall analogy. If we were to update the folder level statuses, what's gonna happen? You're right, the statuses are going to be updated on the list level for job openings and applications as well. So if I were to go to the task statuses here, again, you can see we can see that the statuses are inherited from space level. We want to update them on the folder level. We're going to use our custom statuses. You're typing things here, changing the colors, updating the statuses. As soon as you do this, the statuses should apply to this list over here. But now let's imagine that the job openings and applications are following different statuses. So we technically don't want them to have the same statuses as the folder level or the space level. In this way, as we discussed previously, we're going to go to every single list, click on the 3 dots, task statuses, and we're going to click on use custom statuses and update those statuses for that specific list. So it doesn't bother any other list in the workspace. It just is simply and solely for this specific list. As soon as you update this, again, all the statuses for those tasks are going to get updated as well, and you're going to see them in the dropdown like this. And the very last piece of the waterfall analogy that we discussed is the space, right? So if you were to go to the 3 dots on the space level, click on task statuses, you will find that these are the statuses for the space. You can update them. Again, if you already updated and used custom statuses for any lists or folders inside that space, those changes will not reflect in those lists or in those folders. But again, this way you can basically apply one set of statuses, apply it to all the lists or all the tasks inside that workspace. If you need to tweak them for a specific list or a specific folder, again, we're using the settings on different levels of the hierarchy. All right, so that's basically all about the statuses. Again, changing the statuses is quite simple. You just basically click on the status as I showed you before. You're changing that, from ready to post, from waiting approval to ready to post. We're gonna also review the views a little bit later and how you can see statuses in different ways in ClickUp, but that's just basics of the statuses, and I hope you keep this analogy of the waterfall in mind whenever you're setting statuses up for your ClickUp environment, and I hope this helps. All right, with that said, we're gonna jump into the next part of the training, which will be our custom fields, which is exciting as well because it allows you to add a lot of information in ClickUp, a lot of useful information, and again, create ClickUp as a single source of truth platform. So let's dive into this in the next class.